It absolutely makes sense. I've just written down here, engage with young people, because I think you're so right. I think what you said is essential for both your generation and my generation to comprehend that the most simplest things that we take for granted, saying hello,
Yeah.
complimenting somebody on an item of clothing or something, that jacket, I love that jacket, giving that person a sense of, oh, that's very kind of you, thank you very much, that all of that, and just passing the time of day as you are another human being on the same planet, enjoying the same or enduring the same, whether it's waiting for a bus or whatever, instead of shutting yourself down on the phone like this, don't talk to me for goodness sake, I don't know you, who are you? Why are you challenging me with words?
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's a very good point. And we somehow need to help you guys to understand that this isn't a challenge, that it's fun. It's passing the time. Time is all we have. Everything, money and all of their other things are pretty irrelevant when all we really have is time. We're on this earth for such a short space of time. If you're into the spiritual realm, you may think that you go out and then come back as somebody else to live another experience. It doesn't really matter, or you go to God or whatever it is. But while we're here, we are only have time, and we spend most of the time either asleep or working, and then it seems we spend the rest of the time behind screens or excessive drinks, drugs, and those other things, and we're not actually engaging with the most important part of why we're here, and that is with each other. Pubs are being shut down left, right, and centre. Gyms, of course, are good places to talk to each other, except that actually you're there to lift weights and do this, and the social aspect is not the main thing. Well, that a pub would be
Mm.
a church. People don't go to church, so that's another place that people would have grouped together. These closure of these things are a deliberate thing to segregate people. People, of course, are now effectively kept apart, but you can communicate on these devices. But it's so much better to be in the company of somebody else, and the nuances that you have with people face to face or in a group, or the ripple effect of laughter when you're in a group, somebody telling a joke, inane things that are really unimportant in the great scheme of things, but are essential for a community. Gossip over the all of that sort of nonsense that is seen to be not important, but it's so important. You talk to somebody about the inaneness of the weather. Oh, look, it's another dull day, or it's a bit chilly today, isn't it? Yeah, it is a bit chilly. I'll put this coat on. Oh, it's a nice coat, I like those toggles on. Oh, do you? Yeah, I've got it from a charity shop. Oh, you did well on that. It's a inane conversation, but whilst you're in it, you're passing the time with another human being. All right, if they're a bore, you want to get away. Fair enough. And then you can talk to your girlfriend or other person and say, oh, I spoke to this bloke. Oh, he wouldn't stop talking. Got him on the podcast. He wouldn't stop talking on and on and on about this, that, and the other. But the ability to laugh, to joke, to be self-deprecating, whatever the word is,
Yeah, I know.
to laugh at yourself, to just enjoy the moment, so important. And I think that younger people have been trained that they are more closed off. They've got to either present themselves in a certain way, or it's so lax that they have no standards whatsoever. And of course, the whole clothing industry and fashion industry has made clothing now so relaxed that there's no sense of. I mean, there's style, of course, there's style, but I don't know. It's lowering the boundaries, which on the one hand is good. Don't get me wrong. At one hand, everybody was dressed up in suits and things, and it
Yeah.
it got a bit ridiculous. Um, but there's that sort of, oh, it doesn't. I mean, when people go out into the street to the corner shop in their nighties, you sort of feel that a Rubicon has been crossed, that actually there is no difference now to the privacy of what goes on in your house, and you're taking that into the corner shop in your nightie because you need to buy some milk. Now, people may say, oh, Richard, you're just so old-fashioned. Okay, yeah, it's true. I am old-fashioned. But some standard, wherever that is, some standard, some sense of being proud, and some sense of course, of being open to chat. So sorry, I've gone on a bit there, but I think what you've said there is so vital. And that young people need to understand humanity again.
We really do. And in many ways, I feel now, like, for me, on a personal level, I don't really fit into this generation anymore, because I took a really different route in my, throughout my 20s. I sort of took the path that's not really taken in many ways in terms of my career and everything else. And I just became very self-aware of who I am and what I'm doing here, what I believe in, and my values and everything else. And then reality and what's actually going on. And I'm part of this sort of members club. It's like a round table. We do a lot of charity work and things like that. And we meet up and down the country. We can go wherever we like. There's meetings everywhere. And in that organization, everybody there really is between 50 and 80 years old. And I'm the youngest guy there, 28. Well, I'm usually the youngest guy. And so I spend a lot of time with your generation, and I have lots of different conversations, and, it's very, very fascinating. And I can just compare that. The comparison then between my generation and then yours, there are just so many, to me, it's so obvious the changes that have happened. And I wish more people my age could see that. I really could. It's actually quite, to me, that it's scary. It's quite scary, that change.